Good evening, hockey fans. Happy Friday night from the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink on the campus of UMass Boston. We have an outstanding NEHC hockey matchup for you featuring your UMass Boston Beacons and the visiting Soaring Eagles of Elmira College. Mason Stelf with you on the BBN alongside my broadcast partner, Matt Meisenbacher. Mizey, this is always one of those road trips or the travel partners in Elmira and Hobart. When they come to town, you're usually in for some really good ice hockey.
You truly are, and I think it's an Elmira team that in years past has really been not only nationally ranked, but ultra competitive, not just in the conference, but across the board. Their record really speaks for themselves, and then you see the product they put on the ice, very consistent, can score goals, defend well. Off to a little bit of a shaky start, similar to the way UMass has started. A 2-3 hockey team versus a 2-4 UMass team overall. Should be a competitive game tonight. I think this is a game that both teams have a chance to win, and it's really going to come down to which team is more consistent throughout the 60 minutes.
You see UMass Boston 2-4 overall record, already 2-2 in NEHC play. Elmira making the trip about 5.5, 6 hours from South Central New York. Record of 2-3, 1-1 in the New England Hockey Conference as we take a look at some season stats between these two sides. And you can see things pretty steady across the board in terms of leveling it out. 2.3 goals for the Beaks, 2.2 for Elmira. But ultimately it may come down, as it oftentimes does, to the goalies. We'll talk about Sam Best. He's not necessarily our player to watch tonight for UMass Boston, but coming off of a shutout victory against Southern Maine last weekend, when he's on, the Beaks are usually in a good spot.
Yeah, it's so true, and he really needed that. I think if you look at the game, or if you watch the game against Babson, it was not his best performance, and he would admit that. And that shutout can really do a lot for a goaltender. Confidence is everything in any athlete, but especially a goaltender. Just knowing where you are in terms of your play going into a game, and you do what you can to erase what's happened in the past as much as possible, but it's lingering, and to come off a shutout should really do a lot for his confidence. Mason, the thing for me that really stands out, that power play percentage at 4.8, that is just and let's call it space despicable. That is very, very low, and traditionally this UMass team over the past, I would say 3 to 5 years, has really done a lot offensively. That's really carried this team, and they've sacrificed some defense for more offense. They don't necessarily have that anymore, and I think they've got to regroup, be more of a defensive-minded team, because I think that power play, while it will rise over time, I just don't think this team right now has the offense that they've had in years past.
Yeah, that is not switching the 0 in the 4. That is the 4.8 power play percentage, but no better time than the present to try and get that up against this Soaring Eagles team that, as Mizey said, is traditionally good, but has not necessarily reached their traditional soaring heights this season. We do have some highlights to show you from the last home weekend of the season for your Beacon team, taking on a very difficult Norwich Cadets team, pushing them to the limit, ultimately falling in a tough 2-1 scoreline. But still, plenty of highlights to bring your way, and we bring them to you now.
UMass Boston men's ice hockey, a tough home matchup against Norwich University this past weekend. And early on, Corey Clifton looks to get the scoring started there against Drennan Atherton. His shot would go just wide. And then on the other end, Sam Best with a nice save against the Norwich offense keeps the game all knotted up at 0. And then Jazz Kritzoff, who's had a great start to his young Beacon career, is going to take this drag pass back on the right side, firing on Atherton, and that shot is stopped. Sam Best will move over to the second period now. In transition, Norwich looking to score. The Cadets, though, cannot get by Best, who makes a nice diving save. Score remains tied at 0. But then Grady Freeman, his third goal of the season, third in 4 games, would get the scoring started for the Beacons here as Mike Manzo hits him with a pass, and somehow the puck gets right by Atherton, and the Beacons take a 1-0 lead about halfway through the second period of this game. And then Alex Duncan would have a chance to extend the Beacon lead in this transition play right here on the right side. Cannot quite feed it past Atherton, who makes a nice diving save at the stick there to push it just wide. Cole Bankowskis there in the third period on a breakaway opportunity. Again, Atherton denies him. That would be critical because later on the Beacons would end up giving a goal back here, but Pat Keegan would have a scoring opportunity just before that, and his shot just going wide, and then the redirect nearly goes in. Owen Bordeaux with a third period scoring chance here on a 2-on-2 situation, slaps it on Atherton, who makes the stop. And then there's the game-tying goal right there. Johnny Johnson gets his first goal of the season on the assist from Montero and Poorman, and the Norwich Cadets are in this game again. It's all tied up at 1 apiece, about halfway through the third period now. So the Beacons need an answer fast, as this is a Norwich team that came into this game coming off of a 3-2 comeback win just a night before. And Norwich would continue to threaten, but Sam Best standing strong in net. Another nice save there with about 4:40 to go in the game. But then the Cadets would get the dagger as Clark Kerner, their lead scorer, scores his 4th goal of the season with just over 3 minutes to go. And the Beacons would end up dropping this one by a final score of 2-1. They will hit the road for their first road trip of the season with 2 NEHC matchups against Babson College on Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m. before hitting the road to go to University of Southern Maine for a 4 p.m. matchup on Saturday.
Back inside Edward T. Berry Ice Rink, teams making their way onto the ice. The Beaks already lined up on their far red line, with Elmira joining them on their blue line. Before we get into that, the matchup to watch this evening, Matt, it's an interesting one. You have on the left side, Clay Mankowskis, a guy that you'd love to see getting into the scoring column on that 4th line. And on the other side, the only player for Elmira who has multiple goals on the season, Yanis Vesbelis, the Latvian.
And for me, this is speed versus a natural goal-scoring ability. When you look at Bankowskis, you're going to notice tonight he'll have multiple opportunities where he can just blow right by, not just the neutral zone, but the D. He can outskate pretty much anyone in this conference. The challenge for him has been finishing, and he's going to get his opportunities, but can he finish tonight? For me, Vesbelis, you look at 4 games played, 3 goals scored. That's a pace that's going to be pretty hard to sustain, but obviously someone you need to watch, and especially on the power play, that's somebody I would expect them to try and feed. When you've got a player that's hot and scoring at that type of rate, you got to try to get them as many shots on goal as possible. So for me, that's a player they're going to need to key on. With the penalty kill at UMass at 86% right now, got to make sure you got an eye on Vesbelis at all times.
We take a look at the sneak peek at the Beaks as we get ready to get this one underway. Got a busy weekend of athletics here. Women's basketball taking on the Hunter Invitational against Westfield State. That's on the road. That's coming up at 5 o'clock, and well, now almost done, if not done already. Women's ice hockey is down at Elmira in southern New York. And then tomorrow, women's basketball continuing that Hunter Invitational with an opponent to be determined based on results today. And women's ice hockey on that travel partner, taking on the Herons of William Smith tomorrow afternoon at 4. We take a look at what's happening around the New England Hockey Conference as well. As always, it's a busy weekend here in the NEHC, although there is plenty of snow in the forecast in the state of New York. Babson at Skidmore tonight. Hobart at Johnson & Wales down in Providence. New England College taking on the Cadets of Norwich. And Southern Maine is up in Vermont at Castleton. We will pause for the national anthem, then break down the coaches, the keys to the match, and getting this one underway.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. So I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. You can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned
The coaching matchup this evening, two veteran head coaches of their respective schools. There's Coach Pete Belisle in his 17th season, and opposite him, Aaron Saul in his 14th year in charge of his alma mater. Mizey, when you got two coaches that have a very specific way of playing it, at times that season they've seen it from their teams and other times they have not. But if there's two guys that can get their teams out of their funks at times, it's these two.
Well, Coach Belisle taking a page out of assistant coach Stephen Buko's playbook. He's letting it grow a little bit. Keeps it usually pretty clean shaven. I'm noticing tonight maybe a little Movember action. He's growing a little bit of a beard. So even Coach is trying to change up the facial hair, trying to get this UMass team on more of a consistent playing field. And then when you look at the other side, Coach Saul with a tremendous record, only 12 losses to his name. It's going to be a battle here tonight, Mason. Looking forward to this one.
Duncan, Walker, Friedman in the front line offensively for UMass Boston. Bogan, Coleman in the defensive line with Best in the cage. Smith, Gorman, Reifler up front for this Elmira squad. Parody and Mastrangelli in the defense, and in goal, Kyle Curtin. Underway, 15 seconds gone, and right away a pass into the center in front of the crease, taken away by the Soaring Eagles. They send it up front looking for Jared Smith, but it's cleared away down ice, and we're going to have a quick icing call, it looks like. Nope, the Beacons are going to be able to touch that up and keep it in play. Four players battle for it deep on the far boards. Beacons trying to set something up at right point, but the pass cut off before it could get there. And it's taken back by Elmira again. Weaving his way through traffic is Gorman. And Elmira goes for the full switch. Beaks up the near boards. Trickles its way to Daniel Diamond. Heavy hit into the boards. No boarding or no penalty at all whistled against the Beacons there.
It's a good hit. And the Beacons need that right now, Mason. Little things like that just to keep the energy high. I think this is definitely not the start to the season. There's a shot there. It's going to go up into the netting. Not the start to the season that they wanted. I think they've played a couple teams where they felt they lost some points, left some points on the board, and hits like that can really make sure that the team is all ready to be played, right? And it was good to see a couple sticks banging on the bench, right? Guys got up after that. It's the little things early on in this hockey game that can really translate late into the third period to have your team where they want to be.
Evan Guggens in to take the face-off, and it's won by UMass Boston. Shuffled up against the boards and now knocked toward the cage where it's gloved and held by Curtin. Kyle Curtin, the freshman, 6'2", out of St. George, Ontario. This is a team that is obviously in New York, not very far from the Canadian border. And so as a result, at least a third of their team looking up and down the roster hailing from Ontario. Beacons win another face-off. Played along the boards, but that one skips out past the stick of Krapinski. He knocks it back forward for Guggens. Pass into the center, cut off and taken away, and now Elmira comes back 2-on-2. They dart in behind. Physical enough to knock off the puck. Ryan Rowland, third string defenseman in there. That one gets tapped in there. Neither team going for a change here, though Elmira sinking back in case they turn the puck over. They keep it in the zone right at the blue line, but back with the blue shirts, or the blue helmets, white shirts of the Beacons. That one passed off the boards, taken there by Browning, and he dumps it in there deep. That one was knocked off the side netting. Played up to the point, Browning. Switches sides, flipped right back in there behind the net. Elmira will take this one into neutral ice and now gain the zone on their offensive side with Toure. That one flips up high. We haven't seen either goalie have to do much except for that one frozen puck that flipped into the net off to our right, but nothing for Best yet. Schultz. He dumps it in there, and here comes the trailing attacker to rejoin the fray. That's Mastrangelli. Beacons try and dispossess the puck, and they do. And slowing things down is Keegan, the captain. I was going to say, Mizey, Pat Keegan named captain this year as a sophomore. That has to be a huge vote of confidence from your coaches and your team members.
Yeah, rare, very rare, especially for the way Coach Blyle typically runs his team. It's traditionally been juniors and seniors, and there's been other freshmen and sophomore that have been considered, maybe get a different letter, but not the C, and that tells you how strongly he feels about Mr. Keegan.
Keegan and Nick DeLuzio, the extra skater this evening, are the two co-captains this year for the Beaks. Approaching 4 minutes gone in the opening period, and still not a shot on target for either side. Taken behind the cage by Krapinski. Knocked it forward and then took a spill. It's on the waiting stick of Friedman. And another hold up front, but fairly routine for Curtin.
One of the things that's been apparent to me this, and again early on in the season, has been the lack of crisp passing by this Beacons team. They seem to be a little bit hot to the touch with the puck, and it could be simple chemistry. They're not quite sure where the players are going to be, where their options are, and it could also be just simply not panicking and not really knowing what you're going to do with the puck when you get it. And you've seen that only 5 minutes into this hockey game, but a few times passes just kind of going nowhere, and you're kind of hoping it's going to end up on somebody's stick instead of making sure.
Well, the same is affecting Elmira, as they really have not gotten anything going toward the left net either. That's going to flip up into the bench area of the Soaring Eagles, who this evening are wearing those bright purple sweaters. Large gold trim with the Soaring Eagle logo on their respective shoulders. Gold helmets, the Beacons in their traditional home white sweaters, UMass Boston across the chest. Blue pants, blue helmets.
Elmira reminding me of Marcel Dion era LA Kings back in 70s, 80s with the King's crown.
And we know that Hobart has a tendency to also be very flamboyantly colored. Last year they went traffic cone orange.
That's right.
When they came here.
That's a good way of describing it. They sure did.
Those two, of course, travel partners and semi-local rivals, just about an hour and 15 minutes away from each other up Lake Geneva. That one tipped in there, onside as it was touched through. Dimitrovic gave chase, but it's back with the Beacons again, and both goalies still with nothing to do other than communicate to their respective defenses.
The pace has been strong. I think both teams understand the urgency of this game. 2 points to be had with two teams that desperately need it, and you've seen this here early in the first period. The pace seems to be at a brisk level.
And Hobart coming up in the next matchup for UMass Boston is a undefeated nationally ranked team. And that is the last conference game before the new year for UMass Boston. All their games from here on out through the rest of the year are out of conference through the Codfish Bowl around the new year. And then coming right out of the New Year's break, then we'll be back into NEHC play. But that makes these two matchups this weekend against the Statesmen and here against the Soaring Eagles that much more important. Good dispossession there by Keegan. Knocked forward toward the red line at center ice. Taken back, though, by the Soaring Eagles, going one on everybody there. And dispossessed was Vizbelis, the player we highlighted in the open.
And a nice play by Keegan there defensively.
Knocked up along the boards. Linesman has to get out of the way, but does so. Soaring Eagles still looking for their first shot on Best. That one taken just in front of his crease and knocked down ice. Long sprint, and that's a great sprint there to keep it in play by Benkowskis. There's the speed you mentioned, Mizey.
And that's what he can do. And this is a little thing, right? That won't show up on the score sheet.
Oh no! It's a shot and a score, and Best just had it go right through the glove by Cole Tucker, the extra skater. At 6:33, Best, with a hole in his glove, has it just somehow slip through, and the Soaring Eagles score first.
I got to see this one again. I'm really not sure how this one beat him. This looked like a wrister just outside the top of the circle off the wall. The only thing I could think of is oftentimes with the way these sticks are curved these days, you can get a curveball, literally. And some sort of slider maybe he thought was going glove side and ended up dipping to the blocker side. And it's the only thing. From that distance, you got to get a stop there.
And we will certainly get the replay of that. Regardless of curveball, slider, knuckler, Sam Best will want it back, that's for sure. But he's got to get his mind back into it, as it's still just 1 goal in it, and we're 6 minutes gone in the first period. There is a huge amount of hockey to go, but the Soaring Eagles gifted the first. And now will look to extend their advantage heading toward the midpoint of period 1. That one played off the boards by UMass Boston. They could not chip it to a teammate. Now battling up, now 3 players in there, trying to get it clear off the boards. It's front paddled away. Not sure if Best got a stick to it or is a defenseman, but it was enough to knock it in behind.
And he needs a few more of those. Something from distance just to kind of collect yourself. You know that's one you usually stop, and so you want to get back into it, get a feel for it, and shots from distance can usually help do that.
First line back out there for the Beaks. Duncan Walker-Friedman, the freshman from Kennebunk. And they go for a quick switch. Elmira will do the same as they just launch it in there, play it off the boards, where Best was able to paddle it to his defenseman. Kicked through towards center ice. Player goes down. We play on. It's 3-on-2 for a brief moment, but offside is the call by Cunningham.
Well, what's the response going to be for the Beacons? You've been good start to this hockey game. You're right there with Elmira. Your goaltender gave one up that he usually stops. Okay, that's going to happen. Now, how do you respond? Right, 1-0. You're at home. You've played well. You can't allow that to fester. And let's see if they can stack a couple shifts here, maybe get some offense going.
The Beacons still not listed with a shot on goal on the scoreboards on either end of the rink. Elmira's given 3. One of them led to the goal. The other 2, I think, are generous ones, and I don't see Best making 2 saves there, but he'll take them. But still down 1-0 to this Soaring Eagles squad, and we're going to have our first penalty of the matchup. And I believe it's going to go against UMass Boston here, and they will be down a man, 5-on-4.
Yeah, it sure will. We're going to get a tripping call here. And the Beacons definitely need to have their best on the penalty kill. Again, a good start to this hockey game. I thought the speed has been good, but now being tested again, already down 1-0. Going to need your best on the penalty kill. 86% so far, so I like their chances.
It's Ty Matthews who is going to be sent to the penalty box for that tripping call. Elmira with their first power play of the game, the first one for either team. They have it in the left circle, but it just trickled away from the attacker, and the Beacons get it past the blue line, and now they can break. Benkowskis gives a long chase, now goes, takes the shot, gloved and dropped.
The puck just ran out a little bit on him. If that slows down at all, he's in on a breakaway.
So the first shot on target comes short-handed for UMass Boston off the stick of Clay Benkowskis. But back with Elmira looking to double their lead as that pass through got cut off on the delivery by Diamond. 50 seconds killed off so far. Still 70 seconds to go for the Soaring Eagles. Heavy hit delivered in there by Davis Browning. It makes its way around the boards, slowly trickles out toward the crease, now pass back towards center ice. Shot through the middle, blocked in front, second effort, similarly blocked. Still there though for Elmira. They try and switch circles, got cut off in the middle by his own man, and it escapes past the blue line into neutral ice.
Beacons only allowed to change one there, weren't able to clear it all the way down.
Patience for Elmira as they look to move the puck. Now the shot comes through and it's going to go up into the protective netting. And we will pause, 37 seconds left, and we will get a chance to take a look at that goal that Elmira scored about 4 minutes ago.
Again, just not really sure how this beats the goaltender. I mean, that's just almost a dump-in. A player, and you know what, coaches will tell you this, if you don't have a play, sometimes it's just best to get it on net. And I think that's a play where they're trying to maybe get a whistle, and Best just missed it.
Elmira wins the draw. They have it right at the point. Now move to the left side, back to center. 3-man game across the top for the Soaring Eagles. Running out of ideas, though, and just trying to slap one through, but didn't get much on it. Gonzalez, and the Beacons calmly clear.
Strong in their structure so far by the Beacons. Elmira trying to get shots from the point and/or that center bumper position. Haven't been able to be successful. That looked offsides.
Turned over regardless, and still on the power play, so no icing as the Beacons go for the full change. And a fairly routine penalty kill for UMass Boston to start things defensively. Elmira. Kicked from skate to stick. Knocked in there deep, but the Beacons have it right back and look to counter. Brought past the center line and moved forward there by Mike Manzo, another first-year player. That one blocked out front, and that's really good, sacrificing the body by Amedeo Mastrangelli.
That's a fun one to say.
It's a really fun one to say. Another one of the Ontarians on this squad, Amedeo from Richmond Hill.
Tremendous block. I mean, he right in the lane, sold his body, was able to get that puck up into the netting, and that's a shot from the slot. Goaltenders, that's a tough one, right? You don't know if it's going high, low, left, right on that angle, and you're happy to have a block from your defenseman.
Shot through by Krapinski. Luckily, eyeline was clear for the netminder. Curtin, and he made the stop. Yep, and we're going to have a delayed penalty here. Beacons are going to have to battle an extra man as the goalie is off. That one will be touched, though, and here it comes.
Yeah, Sheffley on an interference call and was behind the play. And that one's tough. You know, and these are just things, again, you just got off a kill. You did an excellent job. You're trying to play 5-on-5. You take another penalty. You put your team, Friedman's going to go. You put your team down again.
Should say Mastrangelli is also the captain on this squad, and that was a captain's block about 45 seconds ago. He's going to be in there for this power play. Had it right there at that right point position, but gave it up. Sent in behind, back to a three-man game for Elmira. Have it at the right now, moved to the opposite side, Diamond on the left. Diamond waits for it back. Instead, he trades positions. Mastrangelli. Stick on it there by Benkowskis, but not enough to get it past the blue line. Still there for the Soaring Eagles. 25 seconds gone on the power play. Played in short corner, getting the stick down low and making at least the initial stop was Blake Coleman. Played off the carom. Elmira, patient. Beacons, similarly patient, just waiting for something to happen. Played in there just in front of the left side of the cage and cleared down ice, and the Beacons will bring all four men off the ice.
Another great effort by Benkowskis. Not only gets the clear, but gets a full unit change. That's important on the penalty kill.
Still, though, more than half the penalty still remaining on the interference call that was whistled against the Beaks, Grady Friedman. Darting forward and trying to start the attack is Smith. Smith got trapped up there by a couple of Beacon defensemen and whipped up ice and well cleared once again. 7:40 to play in the period, 40 seconds to go on the minor. And that is well out in front of its intended target. Really no need either. And the Beacons try to clear, but it's held in beautifully just before it got to that blue line by Gonzalez. Right side, Elmira's been working for this power play after they worked a lot of the left on the initial one. Now they'll try and move it to this left side, but the Beacons again keeping their shape in this diamond. Pass across the middle, cut off there and cleared once again, and a nice play this time by Roland, the senior.
And they're going to kill this off again. Beacons have been tremendously effective in allowing Elmira to stay on the perimeter, and they're just not getting any cross passes through. That's going to be offsides. You got to be happy with this penalty kill if you're the coaching staff. It's not where you want to live. You definitely don't want to be here all night, but you're happy to know, okay, well, we have some things to build on. The penalty kill has given us 2 now thus far, and you would think the referees are going to try to give UMass a power play now that they've already given 2 to Elmira. We'll see what the future brings, but that would be the concept.
And the Beacons being very disciplined. So easy in that situation it would be to gamble as Elmira goes quick on the shot. Tried to go backhanded. Jake Russo, the senior from St. Louis, nearly tucked that one into the top cage.
He sure did, and a good save by Best there to get that arm up.
5th shot on goal this evening for the Soaring Eagles. Just 7 combined between the two sides. Over 13 or 13 and a half minutes now gone in the first period. Shot through traffic, although the whistle sounded first, and it's another offside against UMass Boston.
Well, you got it just under 6:30 here, and you haven't really been able to establish much offense, right? You gave one up, then you had two penalties basically back-to-back. So you really haven't been able to get your usual lineup out there, and I would expect this coaching staff to perhaps double shift either their first or second line just to get 2 shots on goal this point in the game and try and get some offense here, maybe sustain some shifts in the offensive zone.
4 players sandwich the puck up against the boards down to my right. Taken back, the Beacons maintaining possession, looking for the centering pass, but it's easily cut off there by Mastrangelli, who it feels like has never left the ice for Elmira.
Get used to that name.
Denom. took a tumble on a heavy check. The two number 22s come together, Denam and Krupinski. Elmira still has it. They gain the offensive zone on Parady's stick. Parady now waits to get the puck back, but instead it's the Beacons who take it away, and it's Krupinski again. Although he immediately concedes possession, centering pass once again not there, and the Beacons look to counter 3-on-2. Let's see if they can turn on the Jets. They gain the zone offside this time. The centering pass goes all the way through. Karam's out, pass to the right side, shot through traffic. It's still in front. Second effort is directed wide. Beacons had a couple of chances, but again, the defense for Elmira not even letting the puck get to Curtin.
There's a chance. Oh boy, no call. They're going to get a whistle because the net's off. I thought Beacons are fortunate. I thought that might have been another call. Let's see.
That second shot came off the stick of Jazz Krivtsov, the freshman from Santa Clarita, and was blocked out in front. Net off its moorings, and the teams are going to stay 5-on-5, much to the chagrin of Elmira.
And a good shift by UMass. That was the most offense we've seen. They started off the rush, and they were really moving that puck around nicely. Just kind of missed on the one play that I thought they might have a chance to get a decent opportunity off.
Mentioned Krivtsov does have 2 goals and an assist in his first-year campaign here with UMass Boston, who take it back here. This is Krivtsov, and again, that's the third time that the Beaks have been offside in this period.
Yeah, and that's just chemistry. It really is. I mean, that's something that in practice you'll do at least a handful of line drills where you get a flow, and really one of the there's a lot of things you're doing there, but one of those is to try and get a feel with your line mates as to how fast they are, where they're going to be on a rush, knowing how fast you have to be. Can I stick handle? Do I need to get it over the blue line and make a play? Those are things that are covered in practice, and that's why you're seeing a big hit there. That hurt.
It certainly did. And the Beacon fans and students who have come out this evening, as that one shot through, blocked, trying to make their voices heard. Curtin dives on top of it, as again the shot came in from the back. And a nice play once again by the defense, and this time it is the goalie, Curtin, who gets involved on Coleman's shot.
Well, I'm curious to see what the coaching staff puts out here. You've got some sustained offense, and momentum's a little bit in your favor right now. Looks like it's going to be the third line.
So Dakota Concannon, Evan Guggens, Owen Bordeaux.
Upperclassmen here, recognizing the moment. See if you can tie this one up late in the first.
Beacons have been more successful on the draw, and again, right off of it, they take the shot from the point. But again, this time it's Ryan Bogan, another one of these veteran players who saved.
And just a simple face-off play. I mean, that's something you run all the time, right? Goes to the D, take a quick wrister, see if you can get a tip or a screen.
Extended face-off, won eventually by the Soaring Eagles, but now they have to get it off into their zone, and they can't do so, at least not yet. That one flipped up high, and it hit off that white pipe.
That should stay in.
And it should stay in, and the head official, Shepley, astutely calling for it.
And I'm glad the coaching staff keeping this line out there. They're 2 for 2 on the draw. Let's see if 3 for 3 here. They should win it now. Oh, I thought they were going to toss the center. No, they lose it.
But still kept in the zone. This one lofted a little bit in there that time by Bogan rather than going for the shot attempt. This is the longest that the Beacons have kept it in their attacking zone all day. Another nice hit, this time by Roland, but the official's not happy with it after the ensuing hit.
Interference, huh? I don't know, Mason. What do you think? That puck was pretty close to being in the proximity there, and see, that's one that irks me a little bit, right? You've called 2 on the Beacons there. That's kind of a 50-50. You would think you give them the benefit of the doubt just based on the 2 you've called previously, and that one hurts. You've had some momentum offensively. Now you go back on the penalty kill here. That's a tough call.
Third time the Beacons have been down to 4 skaters on the ice. Meanwhile, no power plays yet for the Beacons themselves, although they have killed them off well. Finally, one gets through. Best Pad saves it with his left. Still kept in there, held in at the blue line, pass back toward the center. Skaters trade places, and that might have been a clear-cut opportunity had Dimitrovic been able to get a stick on it. Instead, it went right through his legs, and the Beacons can loft it down ice. But it was blocked once again before they could do that. And that is in there. Yup, did not escape. Elmira still mounting the attack, looking for their first power play goal. That one whipped in. I think it went off the stick of the own man of Krawczyk. And finally, the Beacons knock it down.
I gave Best a credit for a save there. I think he ended up getting a piece of that. That was a good stop. That was a one-timer. Had some heat on it.
Closest to it was Bailey Krawczyk, who's playing for his local club. Hailing from Elmira. Oh, that's a crunch. And that's perfectly legal that time. Davis Browning, 24 on 24.
I like the physicality of the Beacons. This is something we haven't seen a lot of so far this season. They've brought they've been in the weight room, I think, this week.
Now it's Gorman who takes a tumble off another heavy hit by a defenseman. Elmira has had 6 minutes of consistent ice time on their own power play in the Beacons' defensive zone, but just has not been able to carve them open. The shape so strong. This has been the Beacons' best look. That's not when you necessarily want your best look to come out there, is defensively on a power kill, but they're doing it. And they have 8 more seconds to kill off. Tired legs, though, for the Beaks still out there. Shot comes out in front. Best made a kick save with the right, and the Beacons will kill a third penalty.
That's really big. You said it. They were tired, and they were out there for at least a minute plus. And kill off that penalty kill. Now a little under 2 minutes here. See if they can get back to that offense they were generating.
This is crunch time. Either team gets a goal in the final minute and a half here. It will very much change the intermission conversation. Played in there. Everybody's off, though, so everybody gets back. Elmira will take it, but the Beacons just go for one change. Everybody else stays. Battle at center ice. Elmira had it for the briefest of seconds, but taken back by the Beacons and played off the rebound, but it's held in there at center ice by Parody, who knocks it back in there deep. 70 seconds to go in the first. Still 1-0 Elmira on the Gonzalez goal. Inside of a minute now. Playing it is Larry Neeland. Beacons trying to shuffle it away from the Elmira players. Still tough. Cannot get it out.
Yeah, it's a tough turnover here. 30 seconds still. You got to dig deep.
Wraparound pass went awry from Graham Denholm.
Nice play. Nice play by the freshman Manzo there to just buy time. Recognizing that's a real senior for a freshman. That's a real senior concept to understand late in the period here. I just got to find a way to get this puck without an icing, get it out of my own zone. Bought some time, didn't panic. You like to see that.
Final 5 seconds for the Beaks. They'll have time if they can make the pass and take one shot from distance. They do, but Curtin snags it, freezes it, and with 0.2 of a second left, some extracurricular activity ensues.
Well, now for me, if I'm UMass, I'm asking them to talk to the refs, see if they can put some time, because this is the type of play where you can pull your goaltender. You get an extra guy, you win it clean, and you've seen this happen. Freakier things have happened. They're not going to do it. I would. At point 2, there's nothing you can do. You need probably 0.6, 0.7 for a clean face-off win and a shot. There's just not enough time. Wouldn't matter anyway.
And so that brings us to an end of the opening 20 minutes. Teams played fairly evenly when they were at even strength. The Beacons had to kill off 3 power plays, but ultimately it is a little bit of a fluky goal, but it counts nonetheless on the shot by Gonzalez at 6:33 to give this Elmira squad making the long trip from New York the 1-0 lead after the first period. We'll be back for first period stats and analysis, get you ready for second period action here inside Edward T. Barry. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere on the BBN.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you're primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management.
We welcome everybody back. Elmira 1, UMass Boston nothing after 20 minutes of action here on this Friday evening from Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. Mason Stealth, Matt Meisenbacher with you as we take a look at the scoring summary from the first period. Just the one, certainly a shot attempt that Best would have liked back. Cole Tucker, the extra skater, just shooting one from the left side just outside the red circle and having it dip past him into the back of the net at 6:33 in that opening period. Everything else was really the story of penalties in that first period, and a really outstanding, all things considered, penalty kill on the Beacon side. 3 for 3, and really not much to speak of in terms of real clear-cut scoring opportunities for the Soaring Eagles.
You're exactly right. I think that's the building block that they're going to use as the foundation for the rest of this hockey game. 3 penalty kills, and the thing for me, we talked a little bit about it on air, but to expand on it, and the penalty kill, the thing that'll usually kill you is the cross-ice pass, right? Because you're structured in a way where you have coverage typically around the perimeter. But if you get a cross-seam pass, all of a sudden everyone's out of position, and it's very hard to recover. Realistically, you need a missed net or a save. And so the way the Beacons have done it is eliminated that cross-seam pass and allowed Elmira to basically just play with it on the perimeter. They'll let them sit there all day, and that's usually fine. I think the thing you don't want to have is test that too much, right? You're already 3 times now. 2 of those penalties I think were legitimate. The third one was a little bit, 50-50, but I think that's something that this team can build off of. They had a few glimpses there in that period where the offense was starting to build, and then they took a penalty, right? And so if I'm in the locker room, I'm the coaching staff, I'm focusing on that. We know the goal. Best should have had it. We're moving on. It's on the board. We can't get it down. So we're going to use that penalty kill to say, hey, we've done a good job. We know we're going to get some power plays. Let's build off that and make sure we're doing the same things. I thought that third line really did good. That Goggins line late in the period there was generating some offense. You saw a couple opportunities there that Curtin needs to come up with. So I think there's some things this Beacons team can build off of. For Elmira, that's a pretty solid period. You got one in your favor. You had 3 power plays. You weren't able to capitalize, but you did some things really well that I think this team, especially on the road, should feel happy that they've got the lead after 1.
Elmira leading it, you see 10 shots to 9 in favor of the Beaks, 10 saves for Curtin, 8 for Sam Best. Knows that he should have had the 1, but very unlikely, though possible, that this 1 goal does stand up. But plenty of opportunities and still 40 minutes to have them come by. We still have some more highlights to bring you as we went with men's ice hockey in the opener with the highlights against Norwich last weekend, but now we take a look at some winning highlights on the women's ice hockey side with Kaylee Kozik, 2 goals and an assist in a thumping victory over Salem State, and we take a look at that now.
UMass Boston women's ice hockey at home for their 2022-23 home opener after they're playing their first 3 games on the road. And they would get the scoring started early against Salem State. Kaylee Kozik netting her first goal of the game just over 3.5 minutes into this one on assists from Katie Wilbert and Emma Webster. Beacons lead 1-0. Then a breakaway opportunity for Jessica Robert of Salem State. Right here, Kennedy is going to deny her of getting a good scoring opportunity against her. Remains 1-0 in this one. And then Kozik again in the first period, looking to make it 2 goals, firing on Hannah Aveni in goal, but she is turned away. The score remains 1-0. But the Beacons would not have to wait long to get their second goal of the game, as it would be Margot Butters, smooth as butter from the blue line. Gets that one in the back of the net, her second of the season, on assists from Kaylee Kozik, her first assist of the game, and Hannah McDougall. The Beacons now lead 2-0. High fives all around for the Beacon offense, making it happen early. Emma Webster, who recorded an assist earlier in the game. A turnover by the Vikings leads to Emily Hansen getting the puck and then pushing it out to Webster at the blue line, and Webster just fires it through traffic, nets her first collegiate goal. The Beacons up 3-0 less than halfway through the first period, and they would just continue to roll from there as the offense really didn't need to do much more, and Victoria Kennedy would stand strong in net. But that doesn't mean the Beacons would keep having at it. But at the end of the first period, it would again be Kennedy making those key stops we just talked about right there. A glove side save helps keep the game at 3-0. End of the first period. Salem State on the doorstep of the Beacons goal mouth, and Kennedy comes up with some big stops there. The score remains 3-0 at the end of one period of play, and then Kaylee Kosick continues her strong day. Hannah McDougall finds her across the net mouth as Aveni unable to corral that puck, and Kosick puts it in the back of the net less than halfway through the second period. The Beacons now up 4-0 and still looking for more, and they would try to do it just a little while later with Anna Gustafson in front of the net. As you see here, the puck going around on offense, Butters throws it in, puck loose in front, and then Gustafson pushes it into the back of the net. Initially ruled a goal. Beacons unsure. Vikings looking for a goaltender interference or some call of some sorts. It would make the refs come together and decide that no, it was not a goal for Gustafson. The score remains at 4-0. But no matter for the Beacons, they would just continue to threaten into the late third period right there. Some pushing and shoving in front. Gustafson gets knocked down. Salem State trying to protect their goalie right there as the Beacons just continue to threaten. And then Victoria Kennedy caps off her great day as she would finish this game with 27 saves in the shutout victory. Right here you see Kennedy in front, and then Vikings going to get a shot opportunity gloved away by Kennedy. But Salem State still in the offensive end. A slap shot in front, loose, still loose, and Kennedy corrals it, and the Beacons take home their second victory in conference play over Salem State 4-0. They move to 3-1 on the year, winning their home opener. They'll take on Southern Maine tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. right here inside the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink.
A convincing 4-0 victory for your Beacons over the Vikings last weekend. Beacon women making the Elmira William Smith traditional swing this weekend. Hopefully snow does not impact that road trip for the Beacons. We take a look around the New England Hockey Conference. End of the first period all across the NEHC. Thoroughbreds 3, Babson nothing. That's a fairly stark scoreline for a Beavers team that's traditionally really good, but they're down 3-0 after one period of play. Hobart, undefeated, nationally ranked, only up by 1, but it is the 1-0 lead over Johnson and Wales after one period of play. Norwich 1, New England College 0 after 1, and Castleton 2, Southern Maine 0 after one period of play as well. All of these are NEHC games except for that very first one between Skidmore and the Beavers. We'll head to break again, come back in about 90 seconds, get you ready for second period action. Beacons trailing the Soaring Eagles 1-0.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you'll never forget.
The Beacons return to the ice with just about a minute to go until we get the second period underway here from Edward T. Berry Ice Rink in the great city of Boston. 1-0 Elmira after one period of play. On the first goal and first point of the season from the extra skater Cole Tucker. Mason Stauff, Matt Meisenbacher with you on this Friday evening. Meisey, we kind of talked about it in the intermission, but things that the Beacons need to do. They've been on the power play or penalty kill 3 times. Would love to see them get on the power play themselves and ultimately find that goal that'll make at least Sam Best feel a little bit better about himself.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't change much. I thought that first period really was strong for the Beacons. And again, you know, yes, you took 3 penalties, but I would expect some of that to be reciprocated now in this period. I like the way they started at first. I thought the energy was there. The physicality really stood out to me. There were some big hits that kind of translated to some more energy for this team, and I thought defensively they were really strong. Those are things I would continue to focus on in this period, knowing that we're going to get some power plays and we'll capitalize on those to even up this hockey game and maybe take a lead.
Beacons go back out there with their first line. Elmira does the same, and it is the Soaring Eagles who win it, though back into their defensive zone. Beacons immediately try and apply some pressure, force the turnover. Knocked in there as the teams switch ends and now have the long change here in period 2. Right off the bat, a shot. Curtin dropped it, but was able to paddle it away from himself. Now venturing forward is Mastrangeli. He immediately tries to send one toward the cage. Stayed there, and there's a block out front as that one had the sting taken out of it before it could get toward Best's net. Still there, though, for the Soaring Eagles as Mastrangeli pivots, turns, and sends it back in deep. Now battling forward is Coleman behind the net for UMass Boston. Has his compatriot there to try and get it out. That's Duncan. Ooh, big swing at the puck. Stick-to-stick contact. Beacons come away with it and are onside as they gain the offensive zone. They circle the cage, calling for it and getting it on the far side and taking the shot, but before it could get through, it was blocked. It was Coleman who wanted it, got it, but couldn't get it toward the net. Mastrangeli tried the spring pass, or thought about it, and thought better and held it up, and now gaining the zone offensively are the Soaring Eagles in parity, but right off the bat there's another whistle as that one was gloved, as scampering out of his cage to make the play was Sam Best.
And he's settled. I think at this point, right, it's a distant memory, and so far, after that goal was given up, has made some strong saves, looks confident. That's what you want to see from a goaltender. Similar to a quarterback, you make a bad play, you just move on and focus on the next one, and he's done a good job of that.
Best, the senior from Woburn, 23 matches last season, has played just about every single minute so far this season. We've seen just a little bit of Liam Murray and Karsten Burgoyne, but it is once again Best's net as he gobbles that one up along the chest protector. 90 seconds gone in the second, still 1-0 Elmira.
Pay attention to this draw here. They lost that one cleanly. And see if Manzo loses another one. Got to take note of that. These are offensive possessions you're giving Elmira now.
Draw one by Sean Kennedy, the junior from Baynesville, Ontario. We mentioned just how many Ontarians are on this roster. He's another one. As he has it in his possession now, as his teammate lost it over the blue line into neutral ice. So the attack needs to restart. Students love the heavy contact once again. That one knocked up high. Came to fall just outside of the red circle. Elmira again maintaining possession. 2 minutes 10 gone, and it's been really all Elmira, at least with possession of the puck so far in the second period. Flip down there deep. And icing will be called, and no Beacons will be allowed to go for the change.
Trying to see if Elmira is going to change here. It's a good opportunity here. They've stacked a few shifts. And you can see the forwards talking about what they want to do here. It's a sneaky opportunity there, and that's a good win by Manzo. You had to have one there. They should be able to get it clear.
Manzo beating Bailey Krawczyk in the face-off circle. As Elmira going with their third line, which includes Yanis Vesbelis, who has been quiet so far through the opening period plus. Number 21 in purple and gold. It's Vesbelis who gives chase, tried to wrap around, but Best got it to his teammate first. But it comes back to Bailey Krawcheck. Krawcheck on the cross-ice pass. Mishandled just for a briefest second by Vesbelis. And now trying to stuff it in at the near post, but being denied was Sean Kennedy again.
He's been good. He's been strong on draws. He's had a handful of shots on goal. One of the stronger players for the Soaring Eagles here tonight.
Again, the intended pass looking for Krawcheck, but it got through the crease with nobody touching it. That shot just went wide as he wasn't contested, Guggens, and let one fly. But sailed one past the left post without troubling Curtin in net, who will have to glove this one and deke it off to a teammate.
And see, would like it's too passive there. If you're the Beacons there, I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, and they're going to get a chance here.
They are onside, and that shot came in. It was denied on the left pad as the Beacons went for the change and got a quick one on Jacob Banks' stick.
Yeah, that's a good save there from Curtin off the shoulder.
Beacons have it once again. Gino Carabelli is the fourth line in there right now for Coach Delisle, and that one dropped, but covered.
See if they change here. It's a good, and they are. It's a good shift by that fourth line. And as I was saying earlier, just you've got an opportunity. You got to be aggressive here. You don't have the lead, and I saw the Beacons there get it in, get a change, and then just immediately retreat and get to the neutral zone. And that might be by design, but for me, you've got an opportunity there to really attack and maybe put some pressure on this Eagles team, and just giving them free out there is not the style of hockey that's going to get you back into this game.
Duncan came in to steal that draw, but after it got wedged up against the boards, Elmira clears. And now there's going to be another interference penalty, and this one, it's going to be the second one on Grady Friedman tonight.
Yeah, and they got to call it. It's behind the play here.
Yeah, that one was behind the play.
You got to call that if you're a referee, and I understand now it's going to be four penalties called on the Beacons, but I mean, these are penalties.
And there is an Elmira player down after Friedman's hit. That's Carter Wisely, the 5'10 sophomore from Syracuse.
Yeah, it was a big hit. It was just behind the play. And I think this is where, as a junior or senior, you got to take Friedman aside and just let him know we love the aggressiveness, but you got to pick your spots here. We're shorthanded again.
That's actually Jordan Gonzalez. That's a 6 on his jersey. Junior from Hamburg, New York, but still on that defensive side. And we've talked about it in all the games that we've called, Mizey. Getting smashed into these boards on this side of the ice here at Edward T. Berry is very tough because of the cement that wedges up against those boards.
Against it. There's nothing there. It's boards and then cement. It makes me happy I was a goaltender. I didn't have to worry about it. I've seen a lot of games played here at the Edward T. Berry, and this side is not the side you want to get caught on. Fortunately for me, that looked like a player that maybe got the wind knocked out of him. It looks to be all signs pointing that he's going to be all right. Maybe needs a shift or two to regain himself. But you said it, man. You get hit on this side, and there's just no give whatsoever.
So Gonzalez able to get off under his own power, but for the fourth time, the Beacons will play 5-on-4. They're 3 for 3, but playing with fire on this home ice. Elmira wins another draw. They have been much better on the face-off in this second than they were in the first as they win another one. And again, the Beacons set up in their formation and dare Elmira to do something a little bit different. Best, easy glove. Not easy for the neutral, but for a goalie of his caliber, seals himself on the near post and snags.
And UMass is going to live here. And this is what we've seen all game. They're going to live here. They're going to expect Best to make that type of save. Now, Elmira has to adjust. Your power play, you've gotten a lot of opportunities. You haven't really generated much. You've got to change something up. Are we going to get it's going to be a high stick?
Yep.
Yeah. So you got to change something up. And if I'm the coaching staff, I would try to rotate. Oftentimes in a diamond, right, it's a pretty safe structure. When you rotate, oftentimes guys will miss assignments, and all of a sudden you can find somebody who's kind of left on their own. they seem to be a little bit stagnant for my liking. I would like to see, if I'm an Eagle player, maybe try to rotate a little bit and see if you can catch someone out of position.
Elmira wins another face-off. They gain the zone, try and move it around, but at this point now on your fourth power play, still only up 1-0. Beacons find a way to kill this one off and equalize. That's real missed opportunities for the Soaring Eagles. That one shot through, but good seal-off by the Beacons to give a good eyesight for Best, and now the players again pushing and shoving in the aftermath.
And again, shot from distance there. Best doing a good job. And the thing you need to have from your goaltender on a penalty kill is solid rebound control, right? Because you're basically giving them any shot from distance. The one thing that'll kill you is if there's anything that squeaks out, all of a sudden it's right on your doorstep, right? And so Best has done a really nice job. Anything from distance has really been covered, and those second opportunities just aren't there.
Gonzalez, who took the penalty and went off a little bit gingerly, he's out there now, so he's okay. Number 6, he's making his home right here and has the puck now. Moves left to his fellow defenseman. That shot through and deflected high, and the Beacons love it on their bench, knocking the sticks up against the boards as we do it again.
They just look confident, and that's a simple play there. You've got Elmira who's doing a high-end rotation there, just kind of buying some time, buying some space. And a great read from Carabelli, just understands what's happening, gets his stick on it, up into the rafters, and gets a whistle.
Gino always loving the dirty work as Best. Moving to his left, saves with the right pad. And now the Beacons look to turn on the jet. Here comes Benkauskas. Benkauskas on shorthand. Saved. Second effort. Saved again.
And there you saw the speed. You've seen it a lot. If you've watched Beacons hockey, you know Benkauskas, especially on the penalty kill with the extra ice. He'll find that seam. You saw it there.
Captain knocks away. Elmira resets. Benkauskas so close. He had a shot on the opening penalty kill that the Beacons had, and now nearly stuffing it in shorthanded this time. Tapped in there deep. Elmira gives chase. Getting to the puck first was Riefler. And that's a poor pass. Kicks out towards center ice. And with 6 seconds left, the Beacons are going to go 4 for 4 on the penalty kill so far.
Well, you got to place that wager now. They're going to get one, right? You would think after 4, what's it going to take? You got to find something.
Immediately they look to get something toward the front of the net. 3 of the penalties, no doubters. The 4th a little bit suspect. 3 interference calls and a trip against UMass Boston so far. And we've only played 27 minutes here from Edward T. Berry. Beacons cross the red line, send it in there. Giving chase for it on the Beacons side of things is Friedman. Has taken 2 penalties. We'll see if he can be a little bit more disciplined on his first line back out there.
The best way to erase that is to find a puck in the back of the net.
Friedman eyeing things as 2 players dart in there deep. Beacons are going to get there first as Ryan Bogan touches it. 6:15, 7:15 gone in this second period. Still just the 1 goal in it from 6:33 in the first. Shuttled into neutral ice. Beacons have it. 3 players back. Elmira trying to make as many changes as they can as the Beacons mount the attack. Shot comes through, went all the way through. Amazing it didn't get a touch to it. Mike Manzo. Pass just in front of its intended target, Schultz. Still kept in, though, in the offensive zone, Mastrangeli, who always seems to be involved. Centering pass cut out before it could reach its intended destination. Stepping in and keeping possession is Parody. Loose stick down on the ice. Beacons try and clear.
And that's one. I'll wait for a whistle.
Yeah, the camera turned, and Mizey, you were tracking what was happening behind the play, and there was 2 players down on the ice battling while the puck moved to the other end.
I mean, it's easy to get on the refs, but boy, oh boy, you've got basically a tackle going on behind the play with no call. You would think Beacons would get one there.
Beacons regain possession. There was nearly a stick hold there by Kerfala Torre as he got wrapped up with a Beacon player. As things get a little chippier Oh, nice steal, and now an opportunity to break. Elmira shoots, best signal, oh, it got through! Kerfala Toure makes the play on the puck, steals it, and scores.
Tough turnover. And, man, and I understand the play there. Keegan's just trying to get the rush. There was a Elmira player caught deep, and he recognized, man, if I can get a couple strides here, we can enter the zone with speed. And he just turned it over. And I think that's one where Best, coming off that side there, it looked like his pad wasn't completely flush on the ice, and I think it just found enough to get across that goal line. It looked like, and I agree with you, I thought he had it. I really did. I thought it was trapped under the pad. Unfortunately for him, it was past him, 2-0 Elmira.
And now, things immediately blown dead quickly. Toure in just his second ever collegiate game. Now Elmira, 2 players scoring their first goals and getting their first points of the season. And Best, usually so sure-gloved, again, thought he had it, but had it just trickle past behind him. And now he needs his offense to find something to pick him up. Beacons in the offensive zone, but really have had very little going against Curtin's goal since early in the period. Benkowskis trying to use his speed to change the tempo. Came oh so close to equalizing on the shorthand. Offside against the Soaring Eagles.
Well, again, the possession has been there this period for the Beacons. And I think the one thing that they're missing is generating quality scoring opportunities. A lot of the opportunities they're generating, it's somewhat routine. And they just got to find that next gear. And for me, Mason, I think oftentimes that translates directly to getting something gritty in front of the net, close to that blue paint, and just trying to bang one home. Ugly, not one you remember, but it goes on the scoreboard nevertheless.
There was another turnover by the Beaks, giving it right up to Nicholas Dimitrovic. Best froze that puck. Beacons still looking for their first power play, although we talked about it, still only converting under 5% of power play opportunities this season, but boy, would they love one. The way this game has played out so far, as we are now just 5 seconds away from the midpoint of regulation. And it's Elmira 2 and UMass Boston nothing. Playing up against the boards, Krapinski. Sandwiching his attacker up against them. That one squirts away from the net. Now taking a tumble was the Elmira player, Kennedy, without too much contact. It is ice after all. And slips and falls, and the Beacons come the other way, though they don't have numbers, but they do have speed. But that one just knocked away, and Friedman has to retreat. And an icing is whistled against the Beaks.
Somewhat disjointed. I think that second goal has mentally checked the Beacons a little bit. They looked a lot more confident earlier in this period, and right now just look a little bit like they're a little, not timid, but a sense of a little bit lack of confidence, I should say. Something they can regain there. There's an easy save there by Best, but oftentimes when a team with the record that they have of 2-4, again, some games that they've given up that they typically win, and these are the instances where traditionally they felt as though, no problem, we're at home, we can find our way back into this game. I don't know if this team has that same mentality.
And obviously it is important to remember, you focus on the game out on the ice, but this is, of the 2 games this weekend, the one that the Beacons certainly had the better chance to win, as a Hobart team that is currently undefeated and just rolling through their schedule right now, visits in the second matchup of the weekend. Cannot play like this against the Statesmen. And offside again would have been a dangerous scoring opportunity had it been allowed to continue. But the linesman Cunningham, staring right down the blue line, blows it dead.
It was close. That was close. Beacons are fortunate. Beacons are fortunate. But this is where that senior leadership needs to step up. You're still fine. You've got plenty of time in this hockey game. It is not slipping away from you. But you've got to stay with what's working. And for me, what's working is the physicality, getting pucks deep, and working in the corners. And if they get away from that, I think they might find themselves in a little bit more trouble than they're already in.
Elmira out shooting UMass Boston 19-16 to this point. Reverse pass taken out right at the blue line, but still in the zone. Nice block up front. Took it right off the ankle. Davis Browning will feel that one. And now the Beacons look to counter. That shot nearly got through. Curtin made the stop, but it wasn't sure-handed by any stretch. But it did enough. Still there, though, for the Beacons. Browning went to the bench. Probably get some ice on that ankle. Played in there out of the air by Owen Bordeaux. Knocked in there off the rear board. Centering pass out front, taken away by Elmira before it could reach its target. That is just outside. Got outside the blue into neutral ice, but held now by Elmira, and there's the touch. Offside are the Beaks.
And that was that third line again. And for me, that's been the line that has stood out. That was a great offensive chance. You mentioned Curtin with a save. He got a clip of it, didn't get all of it. I would continue to get that third line out there as much as possible. To me, that's the line that has stood out offensively, that's generating the most right now.
And so this comes out to neutral ice, left face-off dot. Linesman Cunningham gets ready to put it back into play. It goes right off of him as it was won by Benkowskis and whipped in there by number 19, Carabelli for UMass Boston. Under 8 to play. Reaching pass out front. That shot just went high by Gino. And then Carabelli takes his frustrations out on the defenseman, smashing it up against the boards legally. Another heavy hit. Beacons trying to clear it. Elmira trying to hold it in, and they do so right at the blue line by number 6 in purple, Gonzalez. And now 2 players go down. Best holds. And we will have a right circle face-off coming up after these changes. We also have a chance to take a look back at that second goal, the steal, and then the dart in there.
Well, you don't see the turnover, and the angle we have isn't going to do it justice. But again, I think Best was on it. Here, this might show it. Best is on his angle there. Yeah, you can see. He probably gets 75-80% of that puck, and it just has literally just enough to get across that goal line. Unfortunate, but counts all the same.
Perfala Toure, the freshman, another one of this outstanding group of Ontarians. Although, actually, Toure is the Quebecois. He's from Montreal. But another Canadian making an impact for the Soaring Eagles. Wisely tried to center in front. Again, Best quick off of his line to deny as Kennedy was the target.
I really like the response from UMass tonight. They're down 2-0, but each time a goal has gone in, there really hasn't been a lull. And if there has, it's temporary. They really have responded well. You would think the way they're playing right now, this is 0-0. And that's something you want and you have to have as a hockey team. You can't get down. I really like where they're at. I think if they can just find, it continues to kind of repeat itself here, if they could just find higher opportunities to score and get this thing to 2-1, they might be able to sustain and keep it at that high level for the rest of this hockey game.
Elmira certainly not dominating this game by any stretch. They are dominating in the penalty category. They have 4 power plays, the Beacons none.
Yeah, they've had 2 bounces, really. Well, one was off a bad turnover, but a puck that almost... And
here's the power play.
And we're going to finally see it. Finally.
Kennedy is a little bit flabbergasted, but there was no doubt about it.
Well, it was a long time coming. Well, here's your chance. You've done all the right things, and you've got to find a way here to generate some opportunities, okay? For me, the goal would be 3 to 4, not just shots on goal, but legitimate scoring opportunities. That would be the goal for this power play.
This is the first time we will see the Soaring Eagles have to defend one. The Beacons, we've already documented their struggles on the power play this season, converting just 4.5%. But no better time than the present to break that trend and get yourself back in this hockey game. There's the speed of Friedman, and he gets his legs taken out from under him, and now here come the Soaring Eagles, 2-on-2, but trying to kill off some time. There's a heavy hit delivered in there deep.
Wow. 2 big ones, 3 big ones.
Blake Coleman was the one who delivered the first. Hits are one thing, though. Offensive opportunities are another, and the Beacons, 45 seconds gone on the power play, have not generated anything yet. That pass across the middle, shot blocked out front. Not sure how much Mastrangeli knew about it, but he did enough.
Manzo's got the hot hand. I would try to find him.
Pass into the short corner left. That one skirted away from the stick as the centering pass was waiting, but couldn't get delivered as it just escaped that stick of Manzo. And again, gets into neutral, ice and down. 45 seconds of 5-on-4 hockey for UMass Boston. Still no shots on target. Coleman, dekes his defender, gets in front, dumps it in front. It got out there in the crease. Beacons still have it in the offensive zone. They switch the play. Googans, shot, score! Evan Googans, 2-1.
Absolute rip. Absolute rip. I mean, this thing, we had a perfect angle, and he put everything he had to the point where he came off his feet. There's a little bit of anger in that shot. I tell you. I mean, he let it rip like I've never seen. That thing was pasted to the back of the net. And I'll tell you, I didn't like the way that power play was going. I thought they were trying too hard off the rush. They weren't setting up to finally get a chance to set up. And Googans absolutely labels one to the back bar to get this to 2-1. Great shot.
5'9" junior from Matawan, New Jersey, Evan Googans. New to this team, not new to this conference. He's a former cadet. Went to Norwich for his first couple of years, but now transferring to UMass Boston. And that is a rifle of a shot. Brand new hockey game at 2-1. Beacons go right back onto the attack. So they get the power play goal, something that they have been wanting so much over the last couple of weeks. And now the offense starting to hit their stride. Benkowskis' pass just a little bit too far in front of his fellow fourth line mate, Gino Carabelli. But more heavy hits. And Beacons cannot believe that they didn't get the penalty. Coach Belisle, probably the biggest advocate for that.
Yeah, because he recognizes, let's see if this is going to be an icing here. No. He recognized the moment. If they can get to 2, Elmira's on the ropes officially, right? And so you're begging for a penalty call there because you've got momentum completely on your side. I understand it. Probably not as egregious as you might think based on his reaction, but I totally get where he's coming from.
But the Beacons look like a team a little bit rejuvenated, and why not after the absolute bullet from the junior Evan Googans brought us back to 2-1 on the power play. It is even on the scoreboard in terms of shots, 21 apiece between the Soaring Eagles and Beacons. It has been a really entertaining hockey game. That one well high, just rode up the stick off of the captain, wearing number 3, Daniel Diamond. Knocked down ice. Beacons are going to have a chance here. 1-on-1. Oh no, another offside. Are they going to whistle a high stick here?
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, hand pass.
Okay.
Hand pass. All right. I was going to say, I didn't think I saw a high stick.
I saw the hand.
Yeah.
But definitely would have been an opportunity. 1-on-1.
With help coming.
Yep, had the help coming. Grady Friedman up against one defender and the goalie with help arriving. But it's whistled back into the other end of the ice, so that's an extra bit of salt in the wound. Now you have to defend a face-off in your defensive zone, but you win it nicely.
Yeah, that's a good win by this third line. I would play them as much as humanly possible.
2-on-2 look. That one rides up the stick and goes high. As we take a look at that goal by Googans. Blink and you'll miss it, because that's how fast this shot gets in.
Well, I hope we have the angle from the corner, because you'll just see this will show it. Unless the ref get out of there. You see just the velocity of that puck comes in. And I don't think Curtin saw all of it. If he did, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. That thing was labeled. But I really love this third line. I would say this third line and Manzo have really stood out to me offensively for the Beacons here tonight.
They win another face-off, pass across. Well cut out there by number 21, Yanis Vesbelis. Would love to see him get offensively going as Best paddles that one behind.
Both teams really need to hold it here. I think Elmira knows that UMass has momentum. They want to lead going into the third. And if you're UMass, you've worked so hard to get to this point. If you can find a way to tie it, you're just going to feel that much better going into the third.
We have 3 goal scorers all playing and scoring for the first time this season. Evan Googans did not score last year for the Cadets. only played in 9 games, had not scored since his freshman year back in the COVID season when he played 5 games and scored once for Norwich. Pass across, went off the heel on the shot attempt that time of Bogan. All the way through, goalie sprawling to his right, and thankfully seeing it go behind. That pass out front would have had a great look at it, but just swung and missed that time.
Yeah, Kritzhoff, I think he missed it off the toe. I think if he gets that puck on the heel, he's got a better opportunity to get that upstairs and in the back of the net. I think he gets it off the toe and it flipped on him.
Kritzhoff gives it up to Matthews. Matthews' shot is blocked. Kritzhoff again has it go behind him. Actually, that's Kritzhoff now who picks it up. Has it taken away off of his stick. Beacon's trying to apply some forechecking pressure. Inside of 2 minutes to play in the second. 2-1 Elmira. 2 half chances that led to goals for the Soaring Eagles. 1 blistering chance that led to a goal for the Beacons so far. That one flips up high. Best didn't see it. Goes up high. It's on the top of the net.
Careful.
And that is where it will stay.
Oh, that's never good. When the puck's behind you but safe, that's a risky feeling as a goaltender. No harm, no foul. Take a sip of water, reset. 1:41 left on the clock here. Face-offs just, if you've heard these broadcasts before, you know I'm a big face-off guy, just uber critical at this moment of the game. Again, both teams trying to hold on to what they have. Kind of a 50-50 win there. I guess you can kind of give that to the Beacons since they're possessing.
And just like you're a big face-off guy, I'm a big proponent of games are won and lost in the final 2 minutes of periods.
Yeah, often. Very often. Not just in the third either.
Correct. That one takes an interesting kick off the blue line boards. Elmira maintaining possession. This one will come out to the point. Fake the shot, move it across. Now back to the center. That one gets in! Outstanding puck movement, and this time it is Jordan Gonzalez who scores.
Oh, I'm going to have to take a look and see if Russo tipped this. The way he celebrated, he might have just gotten enough to redirect it under the glove of Best. We'll have to see on the replay. Let's see who's going through the line first.
It is Russo who's leading the line.
Yeah, I think he tipped it. Yeah, the way so Best had his glove high, and I think the wrist shot was initially going high. It wouldn't surprise me if Russo got this off the bottom of his blade, off the heel, and put it underneath the glove. That's a tough break.
And that all starts with puck movement on the other side of the ice. That little 1-2 pass that got the Beacons moving to one side, opened up the other, and allowed Gonzalez to shoot. And then the tap in.
Mason, you're exactly right. That was a high to low and then a cross pass. And Beacons were caught there. Kind of another bad bounce, right? You get a tip. That heads up.
Oh, hella.
You get a tip there. You know, and a goaltender, I mean, Best had that dialed in all day, but a tip is going to be difficult on any goaltender. But I agree. I think that was set up primarily by the high to low and then the cross by Elmira, like you described.
And it is a goal in the final 2 minutes of this second period. There is still time for the Beacons to pull it back to 1 before the period expires. But that is a tough goal to concede in those situations. But it did start off another face-off that Elmira won and got it to that point as well.
Exactly right. Yep, possession followed by some crisp passing. It's a good recipe.
Knocked up high, Beacons got a little bit lucky it stayed in, and then it shot right of the cage. 23 seconds to play in the period. Beacons still applying pressure, looking for one last shot attempt, but it might come to Elmira in the other direction. Launching himself forward and trying to create something is Smith. Beacons take it away. It's kept in at the blue line. 10 seconds to play. Beacons will just be content to sandwich this one up against the boards and try and see it out. Is there one last shot attempt? No. And time will expire. And that brings us to the end of the period. Elmira went into the first intermission up 1, and they have doubled their advantage. It's now a 2-goal lead for the Soaring Eagles. And as we head to the second break here at the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink, it's Elmira 3 and the Beacons 1. Of course, we'll come back with second intermission stats, highlights, and get you set for the third. The Beacons needing to come back from 2 down, heading into the final period of regulation.
Massachusetts, Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up.
We come back with an instant replay of that third goal, and good puckman movement here by Mizey. Shot, tip, goal.
Yeah, you said it, and let's see if we have the corner view, because we'll see. Yeah, this will probably show it there. Yeah, and you can tell by the way he reacts to it. He got a piece of that, and yeah, of course, silenced the crowd. That however many people are in here, yeah, really effective celebration. That's overdone, man. Everyone does the silent the crowd there. I don't get it anymore, but maybe I'm just salty because he was the one who scored. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, how about Luka Doncic? He shushed his own fans. It's the game-winning shot, shushes his own fans.
You're right. That's great. Fans that don't know, look that one up. But you can see the puck movement, the high to low. So right before that replay, the puck was at the blue line. They go down the far side wall and then zip the puck back across to the high side D. And so what that does defensively is now all of a sudden where the puck is where your back is. So you have to rotate, and by the time you rotate, he's already released. It's on goal and tip. Really not much you can do defensively anyway. But the puck movement is what generated that opportunity. Great for Elmira. I mean, you see the stats here are fairly even. Other than the power plays, it's a fairly even hockey game. Elmira's had some bounces, and that a lot of times, that's hockey. You can be even in everything else. You get some bounces that go your way, sometimes you don't. I think for the Beacons team, the thing that we were talking about off air is they've responded well tonight when they have given up a goal. What's unfortunate for them is they have to carry this now into the locker room, and it has a way of really kind of dampening the room when you give one up late like that. You mentioned how crucial those final 2 minutes are, and giving one up versus scoring one. Elmira has to be on top of the world. They've played really solidly. I don't think offensively they've done too much more than what UMass has generated. The only difference is they've capitalized on the opportunities that they've had. There were a few opportunities there in the second period where I thought UMass was generating some good chances and they missed the net, or it was a one shot and then out of the zone, right? And when you don't capitalize in a tight game like this, that's where you end up 3-1. So I think UMass has a chance to really show themselves here, what kind of team they are. Are they going to respond and climb back into this? Or are they going to kind of let it, the old ho-hum, we're down 3-1 home, here we are again, and let this slip away for 20 minutes?
25 saves for Curtin on 26 shots. Sam Best, 23 saves on 26. But the Beacons have to overcome the 2-goal deficit heading into the third period. We have one final set of highlights to give you, and it goes to the basketball side of things as the women's basketball team and the men's basketball team opening things up over the last couple of weeks. And on the women's basketball side, you got some new faces, you got some returning faces. Meg Dixon is back as well, and things started brightly for the Beacons on the women's basketball side of things with a convincing victory over Mount Holyoke College. We'll take a look at those highlights now.
UMass Boston women's basketball kicking off their season in style against Mount Holyoke early, down 1-0 due to a technical free throw, and then would go on a 12-0 run, starting with Paige Olivier's layup right there, and then Meg Dixon lays it home. Beacons up 4-1 on the Lions right off the bat, and then Olivier again, this time from the left side, banks that three home. Beacons take an early 7-1 lead, and then Meg Dixon joins in on the scoring yet again as she's in front of a defender, uses the screen, and gets that three-pointer home. It's 10-1 Beacons, and the Lions forced to call a timeout less than 2 minutes into this game, and then Sunny Green would join the scoring party as Green would get this rebound off the shot there and lay it home. The Beacons now up 12-1. Alexa Potter having herself a day. The Dean College transfer coming in her first game off the bench in a Beacon uniform, goes on a 6-point run on her own to help extend the Beacons lead to 21-9 after just one quarter. Potter playing 17 minutes off the bench, went 8 of 11 from the field with 8 rebounds and 18 points. Her and Bevan Jakimmy Pearson from London, England, would have themselves a second quarter to remember, as right here you see Jakimmy Pearson with the layup to help extend the Beacons lead to 27-9. She'd get the and one, miss the layup. And then here we see BJP yet again getting the layup home as Potter feeds her perfectly under the hoop. Beacons extend their lead to 32-13, and then Alexa Potter using all 6 feet of her to grab this rebound, put it home, the and one opportunity, and the Beacons continue to extend their first half lead. And then Jakimmy Pearson again here on transition, lays it home. The Beacons just continue to pour it on the Lions here in the first half as Potter, yet again, some of her 8 points in this second quarter alone to just help the Beacons really put it away in the first half. Mount Holyoke, no answers for the Beacon offense. So we're just going to skip ahead to the fourth quarter as Kira's Matos in her first game as a Beacon, a 6-point run here at the end of the fourth quarter as the Beacons would end up taking their largest lead of the game, up 47 points after Matos makes her 3 shots. The Beacons outscoring the Lions 50-16 in the paint in this one and out rebounding them in a big way, 52-35 as the Beacons win their season opener 79-32 at home. They look forward to taking on Colby Sawyer next week on Tuesday night.
Convincing victory for your women's basketball program over Mount Holyoke. They're on the road this weekend, as we mentioned, in a Thanksgiving or a pre-Thanksgiving tournament on the women's basketball side of things. We take a look at the NEHC scoreboard as everybody now through 2 periods of play. And after 2, Babson, who was down 3-0 after period 1, has closed the deficit against Skidmore to 3-2 through 40 minutes of play. Hobart having no problem with the Wildcats of Johnson and Wales. Hobart, the Statesmen, will make their way up for the next matchup on the other side of the weekend as Hobart and Elmira switch places, as they always do, coming to UMass Bronson and Johnson and Wales. New England College still trailing Norwich 1-0 in a low-scoring affair after 2. And Castleton 4, Southern Maine nothing after 2 periods of play as well. Again, those bottom 3 games are all NEHC matches. Babson Skidmore is not. But as I mentioned, this weekend is the final NEHC weekend for the Beacons. Until after the new year, they'll still have plenty of matchups, including, of course, the annual Codfish Bowl. That'll come your way right around the New Year's time. December 29th and 30th is the Codfish Bowl. As before then, they will have Colby and Bowdoin on the road here against Anna Maria, then the long Christmas break before Fitchburg State is matchup number 1 on the Codfish Bowl weekend. But that obviously makes these 2 games against Elmira and Hobart that much more important. You still have 20 minutes and 2 goals, in no means insurmountable, Mizey.
No, it's been a fairly even hockey game. I think for folks that maybe are tuning in late, you see the 3-1, you might assume that Elmira's kind of dominated the play. For me, it's been a different of bounces. I think we were talking a little bit about it. I think Elmira, on the chances they have gotten, have found ways to score one way or another. It's gone in the back of the net, and really that's all that matters. On the flip side, for me, UMass has generated some opportunities, but the opportunities they've generated, 1, haven't been consistent enough, and 2, there's been some times where they've either missed the net, 1 shot and it clears the zone and the offense is over, and it just hasn't been enough to sustain itself over time, and that's where I think where we end up with a 3-1 hockey game. Like you said, still up for grabs. I think if UMass can find one quickly here, you'll see that momentum shift. I'll be curious to see how Elmira plays this period. They've been fairly aggressive in the way that they've approached UMass today. With a 3-1 lead on the road, I would expect them to play a more defensive structure. Yet to be seen if the coaches are going to make that adjustment, but that's something I'm going to look for here within the first 5 minutes.
You see Hobart tomorrow, 4 o'clock puck drop. We'll, of course, have it for you right here on the Beacons Broadcast Network and LittleEast.tv. But right now it is Hobart, perfect in conference. It's Hobart and Norwich, both starting the season undefeated in these first month plus or so, with that bundle at 2-2. This Elmira team, UMass Boston, Southern Maine entering the day. Johnson and Wales 0-1-2, and they are not faring well against the Statesmen, who will travel up tomorrow. Plymouth State 1-1, Castleton 1-1, New England College and Salem State wrapping up the conference down there at the bottom. But you see that winter break, so the Beacons trying to make some headway, both tomorrow against Hobart. Then you get those very old, very ancient, but always very fun NESCAC schools in Colby and Bowdoin on that main swing up in the great northeastern state in the Union, and then Anna Maria here. Anna Maria, one of the very rare D3 independents before that winter break, and the Codfish Bowl, who the Beacons are, of course, defending champs in that very odd but still great to have back Codfish Bowls after the COVID seasons making things very difficult in the previous years. Well, we are ready to go for third period action here from the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. Mason Stauff, Matt Meisenbacher with you on the Beacons Broadcast Network and LittleEast.tv. Beacons trailing at 3-1. Teams back to their original sides. Short change, third period. And let's play some more hockey. Beacons go back to their starting line. Duncan, Walker, Friedman, Bogan, Coleman in front of Sam Best. Elmira takes the puck away. They have their first line out there as well. Actually, they went second line, Kennedy and Dimitrovich.
They've changed them up. UMass. This is Manzo with Carabelli. I think we're going to see a jumbled line here, trying to see who the third forward is.
It's Friedman.
So they scrambled it. Don't blame them. I'd probably do the same. Need more offense.
This is Friedman. He's been better since getting called for 2 interference penalties. That one got all the way through, and the goalie Curtin was very lucky. I don't know how much he saw it until it hit his pad and he suddenly knew it was there.
Nope, you're exactly right. That's a goaltender that has a pretty good idea of where it's going to be and kind of hoping it hits you, and sure enough it did. He was screened. And more of that if you're the Beacons, right? You can see where Duncan was, or I'm sorry, that was Carabelli, on the doorstep, almost in the blue paint, as close as you can be without getting a penalty. You got to try to find a way to get this goaltender's eyes away.
Beacons tried to go with a quick shot. Duncan tried to take it off the draw and shoot it and catch the goalie napping, but it took a high hop. And Elmira has it back. 1 minute gone in the third period. Still time for the Beacons, but they must score the first goal in this third period to give themselves a chance. You fall behind by 3, tough going from there. Beacons march forward. Krapinski hands it off. That shot from distance, and I think Curtin got his glove on it. And that one goes up high.
More. Keep it rolling, right? If you're UMass, change it again. Let's get everybody get a shift here. This is a good start to the period. A little over a minute in. Can't really focus too much on it, but a good start. 2 good shifts to start the period.
And that shot came in from Guggens, who we've already seen. If he can connect with one, tough to stop.
Yep, without a doubt. We'll see if he's short in the bench. So you might as well throw out your line sheet, folks, if you've been keeping one, because everything's new. We're going to have to write them, I think, manually here. Everything's been jumbled. We'll have to see if that continues and if the bench has been shortened at all.
Elmira trying to go on the backhand. It went all the way through the blue paint, but there was nobody to poke home for the Soaring Eagles as that goes up into the protective netting. Scoring summary so far: Cole Tucker opening the scoring in the first period, the lone goal from Kerfala Toure at 6:33. 3 goals in the second, the first again coming for the Soaring Eagles. Unassisted Toure getting his first goal of the season after he got that point in the first period. Beacons would pull it back to 2-1 at 14:50 of the second. Guggens from Bogan. And to wrap it up in those final couple of minutes at 18:57, Russo on the tip-in from Gonzalez and Diamond. Wrapped around the boards on the far side. Beacons connecting on the pass after a touch. Shot came through but was blocked. Elmira has it, looking to clear their zone, and they do so. Hops up high toward the red line at center ice. Gaining the zone offensively is Denemy. Graham Denemy gets it off to a teammate, tried to get it back on the 1-2. That's Krawcheck, his third lineman in there. And that one went all the way through. Best saw it go past his left post.
It's a rocket.
Krawcheck. Long line for him. They're trying to get him off for a change, I believe. There he goes. Sent in there deep by the captain, Mastrangelli. Diamond and Mastrangelli are the 2 captains, both defensemen for Elmira. Mentioned the Beacons going with DeLuzio and Pat Keegan as co-captains this year for Coach Belisle. Pass in front. Denemy Sent out all the way through traffic. Good shield out front, but deflected away.
Yeah, good stop by Best. Not sure he saw that from the top.
Setting up the body in the way was the 5'11", 160-pounder Larry Neeland. Schultz lost the puck. Darting the other way for the Beaks and Friedman. That one tapped in there deep. Beacons give chase. Into neutral ice, taken there by the Beaks.
We talked a little bit about it, Mason. It looks like Elmira is going to continue to go aggressive here. It's worked. I don't blame them. That's kind of a coaching decision, right? Do you switch up what's working and go into a defensive structure, or do you stay with what you have? And to me, so far, it looks like they're going to stay aggressive, at least for the first half of this period.
And the Beacons getting their lone goal off of a power play, so have yet to get past Elmira at even strength. We will see, of course, as this period continues. As Mizey mentioned, does Elmira succumb to the pressure of changing things and playing a little bit more defensive? But that obviously invites the pressure. But that would also challenge this Beacons team, who, Mizey, you have your questions about on whether they can play from behind in the third period.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. That's just the truth. We haven't really seen it so far this season, and this is a good test. You're at home against a team you've been somewhat even with so far this game. I know the score doesn't dictate that, but the way the game has gone is still very much in it. It just time becomes a factor.
Lofted pass, gloved down. Stick goes flying into the boards below us. 4.5 gone in this third period. No clear-cut scoring chances for either side yet. That obviously is perfectly fine for the Soaring Eagles, who lead it 3-1. Beacons just the lone power play. They scored off of it. They have killed off all 4 Soaring Eagles penalties themselves, as that one lifted just high and wide on the cross-ice shot. Tucker, who scored the original goal, in there as the extra skater. Mastrangelli tried to send it back in there. Another heavy hit. Skater goes down for the Soaring Eagles, gets up slowly but looks to be okay. Shot through traffic, blocked out front, and the defense does its job and now tried to spring Koli Binkowskis. And Clay could not get on the end of that one, but he did enough to keep it from being an icing. But it's still with Elmira. 2 subs.
And you got to go aggressive here if you're the Beacons. You can't. You've got 3 guys standing back on the blue line. You're down by 2. You've got to attack. You can't. It's so hard to come back into a hockey game being that passive.
Well, how many times do you hear a broadcaster use the word urgency? And it's a cliche at this point, but it does feel like that's just what you're asking for. You got to have that little bit of urgency, down by 2 with 14 minutes left, but create something and ask questions.
You have
of
to.
Elmira.
You have nothing to lose. If you get burnt on it, so what? You're down. And I understand they're coming off a change there, but to see 1 forward attack and have 3 in the neutral zone / blue line, it's not aggressive enough. It's that simple.
Lofted down ice. Beacons should win this race. They do. Touch up, and it's an icing.
I'd send 2 forwards every time. Try to create turnovers. It's the only way, because offensively, I don't know if you have the horses to just simply draw it up. So you've got to find a way to create. And for me, attacking this D, which you haven't really done so far this hockey game, send 2 forwards, try to create some turnovers, and see if you can get that F3 involved.
That one nearly went out front, trying to pounce on it. In front was Alex Duncan. Shot went high, second effort, gloved, and held by Curtin.
Big draw here.
Oh, that one does allow Elmira to go for the full change that they couldn't do because of the icing a moment ago. But the Beacons are going to keep this line out there, and now fresh skates, figuratively anyway. Midway through the third period or so for Elmira. Draw won by the Soaring Eagles, but the Beacons apply some forechecking pressure, knock it in behind the cage. Neutral ice. And this is Kerfala Toure, who at this point is one of, if not our #1 star of the match.
Been good all night.
And that one tried to be tapped in on a point-blank look by Denemy, but just a little bit high for him and couldn't slap it in out of midair. Nealand circles, and that's a good poke check from behind to dispossess him by Guggens. And that third line for the Beacons coming up with a play that they needed in that moment. Elmira tiptoes away. That should be another icing call. No, they're going to say it got tapped. Linesman on the far side making that signal. Same thing here. Mastrangeli. Ooh. Two players go smashing into the boards. A little bit of a missed check that time by Manzo.
Conant is hurt. He's going to have to see the trainer. Unless it's maybe a dead leg. We'll see.
Keep your eye on that as well. 8 minutes gone, and this third period playing at Elmira's pace. Although that is a giveaway that the Beacons would have liked to do a little bit more with. It does get back behind the blue line, and now nearly taken away again as both teams playing hot potato with the puck. Backhanded shot, Curtin saves and does not allow the rebound, and then gets a good amount of body.
Yeah, Carabelli was all over him, and good on him. You fall in the goaltender there, you probably get called for a penalty, so saved one there. Almost halfway through. Haven't seen enough offense. Don't forget, you got to get 2. And you really don't have much to risk, right? In a sense that you're already down 2, so sacrifice, in my opinion, sacrifice some defense for that offense, and you can always revert back if you can get one, right? You don't have to stick to the strategy you have at the current time. So go aggressive here, maybe for 3, 4, 5 minutes, see if you can tie it up. And then if you want to, you can revert back. But for me, it's just you're having a tough time generating offense. You got to take some risk.
And for Aaron Saul and Elmira, you have to think that the instruction is simple. Just don't do anything dumb. Don't give the Beacons something that they can play with.
Yeah.
So far, they've been disciplined.
It's that simple. It really is. I mean, on their side, what a position to be in. Up 2 on the road. That's a long bus ride. You got to be feeling good. Back door there. Oh, boy. Where is it?
Oh, my goodness. It snuck back out there. Best got turned on the 180. And as he turned, the puck escaped like a slot machine. But thankfully did not go into the goal. We've seen some fluky bounces for Elmira. That was nearly the flukiest. But it stays out, remains 3-1, and the Beacons still within touching distance. But as we approach the midpoint of the third period, something's got to change. It doesn't look like Elmira's going to change it.
Oh, man. See, like that little play right there, and I understand he's got pressure coming, but you got to get that to the D, right? Now you got an in-zone draw. You put it on your center. This could be more possession time lost. You got to try to get some mojo going here.
And I know Sam Best has a short memory, but do you think if he was fully on his game and absolutely flying across, that he might have been able to be a little bit more confident and putting that down and starting something the other way? Speaking of starting something the other way, Beacons go right back into the attack.
Potentially, I see your point. I think it's more of the team mentality. The team to me right now feels safe. They want to be safe in everything that they do, and unfortunately, the scoreboard doesn't dictate. You're not able to do that. You're down. You have to take some risks here in order to get back into this game. And little plays like that, there's been times where, again, we saw earlier in the period, we've seen it a few times. One forward in, you've seen it again here. I know they're on a change, but you've got to just overall, the mentality has to be we have to attack, and we have to attack now.
Ice hockey and safe are 2 words, or I guess 3 words, that you never want to hear.
If you're Elmira, you can do everything safe. Let UMass try and take the risk and come back to this game. It's like poker. You just got to play the ante every time. You don't have to make any wagers.
9:20 to play. Beacons needing a spark, whether that's a power play, a turnover, something.
See, even right here, and that's just so passive. Elmira's going to break out every single time. You've got forwards that are just in kind of zone coverage on the forecheck. And again, if that's fine if you have the lead. But to be down 2 here and just watch, you're basically just letting the clock run out on yourself. This is another end zone draw. Yes, take one there. And now all of a sudden you've got less than 9 minutes left in the period. Something has to change. Elmira doesn't have to do anything. They can just keep doing what they're doing. And they are, effectively.
Probably about 5 minutes the Beacons would be targeting to get that first goal back, which would give you ample time to get that second one with an opportunity to pull the goalie in the last couple. But it's got to start with the first one. Good stick handling by Matthews. Whips it around, but too hard as it comes all the way back out past the red line at center ice. Sent back towards center. Googans is back out there for Coach Belisle and the Beaks. Good reach and just beating everybody to the puck was the Soaring Eagle on the outside. Played off the 1-2, and now that's good stick movement. An opportunity for Matthews to go forward. Tried to drag it. Defender got in the way, though. Three Soaring Eagles, 2 Beacons battle. Knocked out of there. Still there, though, for UMass Boston. Shot through, nearly a deflection. And that's a good hold by Curtin, as I think that took a hit down, and he was still able to glove it.
Yep, that was tipped. Definitely. Good save. And a decent shift there from UMass. Let's see if they can build off of it now. He had a chance to go. Goaltender made a good save. Curious to see who Coach Belisle puts out here. I know the lines have been changed. It'll be Andy Walker on the draw.
And it's Walker, Duncan, and Krivtsov, the 3 up front for the Beaks. They hold it in there as a good reach there by Owen Bordeaux. 1-2 back, another hold by Curtin, and he is on his game tonight. Just his second start of the season, and he looks good in there.
That shot from the point is fine. You've got to continue, try and do a little bit better than that. Shot from distance there. Curtin saw it all the way. There's really no one in front. It's going to be tough to beat him from there.
Elmira tries to start the break. Long run. Good leave, onside, gaining the zone. That shot paddled behind by Best. Comes back out, knocked right back in, though, by the Soaring Eagles. Glove down as there was nothing going forward by Bordeaux. But that allowed Elmira to at least keep the forecheck on. Shot through traffic. Best holds in that left-handed catcher's glove.
Coaching staff has to get creative. Time just seems to be slipping away here. 7 minutes now in the period. Few offensive blips there. Getting some shots, but your scoring opportunities just aren't enough. Got to try to draw something up. And go deep into the backside of the playbook here. Something you don't usually call. Because, again, you're still okay. If you can get it to 3-2, all of a sudden you have enough time here. But a two-goal deficit at 7 minutes is a heck of a lot different.
One last shot. It's 3. Elmira off the draw. They win another one. And trying to pull the Googans with the absolute bullet shot. It's Giannis Vizbelis. We've been waiting to call his name. He has the goal, and it's 4-1.
Yeah, well, a shot like that, and from that area in the slot, it's going to be tough on any goaltender to make that save. Coach Belisle's going to take his timeout. He's got really nothing left. That's his only move he can make here. And this might give us an opportunity to show this replay, but this is the release that we were talking about. This kid now continues almost a goal per game pace, and I can see why now live with that type of release. That's a high-end release there, folks, to let that thing go with the velocity he had. We'll see if we can get you the replay, and you take a look. You can see it here. Coach Belisle just telling his team at this point to have some pride. 4-1 here at home. You didn't. I don't think, from what we've seen, Mason, that this is the type of third period where you wanted to go get the game. You were kind of hoping and praying that something was going to fall your way. and it just slowly drifted away. And it's, again, an Elmira team. They haven't had many opportunities of their own, but there's one on a face-off play. Visbelis is left unattended and rips it home. They put it in the back of the net. It's kind of been that way all game here tonight.
And for me, it goes back to conceding a goal in the final minute and 3 seconds of the second period, where you're within a goal.
Yeah.
You concede that one. You go into the intermission, like you said. Now things feel differently.
Right.
You don't have that opportunity to respond, and you come out a little bit flat-footed in the third, and you can't just get anything going offensively.
It doesn't seem like this team has the confidence or the horses to play from behind right now, and that can be, like we're talking about, a little bit of a mentality, but also in this case a reality, because you're allowing it to happen. There was just, like you said, just not enough coming out of that period, and you have an Elmira team that's found a way to capitalize here tonight.
Giannis Visbelis now 4 goals.
Big save.
Match number 6 this season for Elmira, the junior from Riga, Latvia. An outstanding shot. We have now seen 2 great goals, and there it is again.
Yeah, and just a face-off play here. Visbelis gets left. He leaves his man there, and just a quick wrister. And that's so tough on a goaltender with that. This will show it right here. You can see Best is really on his angle, but when you've got a shooter that can pick a corner with velocity, you'll see that at any level. That's advantage shooter every time.
Snaps it over Best's right shoulder. And we've seen some fluky bounces and a couple of not necessarily the most skillful goals. That one, though, outstanding from Visbelis. And offside were the Beacons. It just got past the blue line and kind of summing up, trying to dart forward, and the puck having other ideas.
Tough for this UMass team. Early on, I mean, this game was even. And again, credit to Elmira. It's always difficult on the road. Any type of road trip more than an hour or 2 is going to, you hear the term bus legs. You just can't have your pregame routine that you normally have. And to me, this team, they were ready to play. And they came out here. This was an even hockey game, I think, for 2 periods. But their ability to stick to the game plan, they buried, like we've talked about, they buried the opportunities. They got a few bounces, and I think, like you mentioned, that goal late in the second period really took any momentum UMass might have had been able to carry over into the third. They took that right away. This team, record-wise, doesn't look too strong, but I think as long as they can keep it close, can be a competitive hockey team throughout the season.
And they will have an opportunity tomorrow for Elmira, assuming that this record stays as it is and the game finishes with a victory and 2 points. Or I should say 3 points, as that one knocked up high, but have an opportunity, head down to Providence, a Johnson & Wales team that's getting beat up by Hobart tonight, hasn't won a game in conference yet. You have a chance for a 2-win weekend on that long road trip before you head back into a blizzard.
With a literal. I don't know. Is there anything above a blizzard? What's above a blizzard? If the Bills are moving their game, it's a serious blizzard, a super blizzard.
I don't think they're moving it because of the Bills. They're moving it because Bills fans would try and drive in that. They would absolutely try and drive in that. It is for the safety of the fans more so than the players.
Common people, yes. No, I think you're spot on. But you said it, and in a conference that's wide open. I mean, other than Hobart, with where they're at, who we're going to see tomorrow. This conference is wide open. Record-wise, there's a lot of points to be had, a lot of shuffling yet to be done. And this is the type of game that could.
Oh, my goodness. How did that not go home? Great opportunity up front. I think the last touch was Jacob Banks.
Yep. Right off the post. But a conference that's wide open, Mason.
It's Hobart and Norwich, who remain flawless on the season in terms of record. But that last play, bodies in front, opportunities, you score there. This game isn't over yet. Make it 4-2. And I don't know what more Banks could have done. It just hops up high and gets the iron.
Elmira taking a timeout. They don't want to give anything to UMass. They could sense on that shift that was about as close as you can get, right? And they're going to take a quick timeout just to see if they can keep things where they are. Don't want to let anything slip away. We've seen crazier things in Division III.
And that was one of the first times we've seen Elmira look a little sloppy.
Yeah.
And really any play in this hockey game looked sloppy. For the most part, it's been a well-played hockey game. There hasn't been anything truly magnificent on either sides, but it's one well played and disciplined. That one, things started breaking down, and I think that's a good decision by Coach Saul, even in a 3-goal game, to settle your team's nerves and make sure that they know that they haven't won this game yet.
Well, we'll take a look here at that scramble you were just talking about, Mason, and you're right. It's a breakdown. You can see players down, scrambling. No one really is covering anybody. Banks off the post, and Beacons just can't find it tonight. Can't find the back of the net. I know they have the one, but offensively have struggled. And you talked about, Elmira scrambling there. They've really maintained their structure throughout. Even when it felt like UMass was kind of taking it to them with some body shots, it seemed like Elmira was okay. They trusted that they were going to weather the storm, and they've done a really excellent job here on the road.
And we've talked about it, even from the open. This is an Elmira team that through the years has had some truly outstanding teams.
Yeah.
This may not be its most talented unit, but it's still going to be well coached and disciplined.
Without a doubt, and you can see here tonight with some of the scoring touches that they have, some of these shots have been absolutely labeled, and they can find a way. I don't think this is a team that wants to get into a shootout and try to outscore teams, but if they can keep it close with the way they defend and allow some of those shooters some grade A opportunities, they can win a lot of hockey games.
Oh, they put their 2 captains' C's on defensemen for a reason. That is how they want to make their mark. And they have flustered UMass Boston for much of it, who are still without an even strength goal in this matchup. It just took the one moment of brilliance from Guggens. That's the only Beacon goal so far. There's still time, but they're running out of it. 4:30 to play in regulation. Elmira 4, UMass Boston 1. Final conference weekend before an out-of-conference trip to some NESCAC foes up in Maine. Game against Anna Maria here, and then the winter break before the Codfish Bowl.
One of the things I think it's going to be tough to change in less than 24 hours, but the Beacons seem to want to create off the rush, which is fine. But if you're going to do that, you have to connect on passes. You have to be able to string passes together, and I don't think they've done enough of that tonight to generate really anything that was too dangerous. It can be, if you're a rush team and you create offense off the rush, if you can't string passes together, what you're doing is creating momentum to go back down on your defense, right? Because it's essentially a turnover in one way, shape, or form. Even if you get a shot on goal, it's still coming back, and you have all that speed going one way. It's just, there's these little things that the Beacons, again, are close, but they're not at the level that's going to make them competitive in these games, especially like this, where they find themselves down by more than one.
Beaks did play Norwich to a 2-1 scoreline. We showed you those highlights before the game got underway as that one ripped through just off the mark on another Guggens rifle.
And that was
his
game,
shot.
Sorry, Mason. That was a game that they kept it close, right? And it came down to basically a penalty call late that a lot of people watching that game felt was at 50-50 at best. That ended up being the difference, but they kept it close. And I think that's going to be the name of the game for UMass this year, is trying to play similar to what we saw from Elmira, a strong defensive structure, to keep it close into that third period and see if you can get one or two late.
That shot went high. The start of that possession by Owen Bordeaux, as we are inside the final 3 minutes and the Beaks need 3. Elmira just slowly and methodically building their lead. And that goal at the end of the second that extended the lead from 2-1 to 3-1 really does feel like the one that changed the way the third was played, and the Beacons never really got going at any point in this one.
That's what's, here's a chance.
Backhand shot, sticked aside by Curtin. A goal here for UMass Boston, even if it doesn't change the ultimate result, would at least give you some momentum and some confidence heading up against the Statesmen tomorrow at 4.
I was going to say, Beacons remind me of maybe a car that the engine runs, but the transmission's a little off. They can't shift into that next gear. You know what I mean? Everything's going, but they just can't get it into that next level, that next gear, and keep it running. And I think that's something that can be fixed, but it takes buy-in. And this team, from what we saw in the third period there, that was more of, to me, more than skill. That was a mentality that kind of changed there from the second to the third.
Beacons trying to get one back in the final 95 seconds of this one. Best is staying in net as that shot again knocked aside. Had an opportunity, but the shot saved this time. Jacob Banks had another chance. Actually, I think it was Clay Benkowskis who had the one that went off the bar, and then Banks tried to tidy one up. It was definitely Banks there. Played in short corner, 1-2 pass. Can't find its target. Still there, though, for the Beaks. 70 seconds to play in this one. Played out to the right point. Moved across. Nobody home in the slot. Stumbling as the pass went behind. Still in the zone, though, for the Beaks. Shot through. Deflection wasn't hit. Friedman had an opportunity to try and chip that one past, but it got past his skate and stick and went behind once again. Final 50 seconds. Elmira going to get their third conference victory of the season with an opportunity to add 4 tomorrow against Johnson and Wales, and the Beacons looks like they are going to fall in this one. Dropped to 2-5 overall, 2-3 in conference, and it does not get easier with the Statesmen visiting tomorrow at 4 o'clock puck drop. Elmira trying to cap this one off by one last look in front. 10 seconds to play. Puck is sandwiched up against the boards, and it is perfectly fine to stay there. It scoots out one last time. Is there one last shot for Elmira? No, and that will do it. As the horn sounds, and the Soaring Eagles, not sure if they were necessarily soaring, but they did plenty, as their goalie Curtin gets some hugs from his teammates, and the best side on the night did get the victory ultimately.
Yeah, I really like the way Elmira played. You got to hand it to him. You know, I think that for me, when you look at the stat sheet, final stats there, you're going to see a lot of even categories. I mean, the thing that stands out to me, shots on goal were 33-32. The difference to me is the chances, the scoring chances, and your conversion rate. And the Beacons only had 1 they converted on. Elmira had 4. You know, so for me, that's a team that was able to, yes, capitalize, but didn't panic at any point. And there were times in this hockey game where it looked like UMass was on the brink of climbing back into it, tying it up, maybe taking a lead at some points, right? It was 2-1. Let's not forget it. I mean, at one point it was 2-1 with UMass right there, generating. And as you talked about, we've talked about it here on this broadcast, Elmira gets one late. And you had just mentioned the final 2 minutes, how important those are. Elmira was able to get one. And I think that's the difference in this hockey game. The third period, Beacons were not strong enough. Thought they were far too passive. They didn't seem to have any type of momentum that they were able to build off of to climb back into this game. But for me, the difference was late in that second period, with it going into the third being 3-1 instead of 2-1.
Well, we still have more to come in the post-game show, and then we'll wrap you up here from Boston in just a minute. We go to break and come back on the other side. Beacons fall in this one, though, 4-1 to the Soaring Eagles.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term
And we bring you back one final time to Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. Elmira College 4, UMass Boston 1 on this Friday night. A game that the scoreboard not necessarily reflective of how even the game was played, but ultimately, as you take a look here, 43-36 in terms of shots awarded to the Beaks. Looks like a great day for Elmira. And their goalie Curtin, 42 saves on 43 shots on target. Face-off numbers even. We talked about the power plays. There were none in the third period, so it remains 4 for 4 on the penalty kill for the Beaks and 1 for 1 on their own power play. But really couldn't generate a whole heck of a lot in terms of 5-on-5 opportunities. And that goal at the end of the second doing enough to give Elmira the momentum that they carried into the third, add the fourth, and ultimately see out the game from there. And now you look forward to Hobart tomorrow, Mizey, and that's obviously going to be a tough one, but if there's anything that you can say, it's that the Beacons played Norwich tight throughout. They are a good defensive hockey team. This was not Sam Bett's day. If he plays well tomorrow and the defense plays well and we see a little bit more from the offense, you never really know what can happen in this conference.
Yeah, you have to be committed to keeping it close. This team, I think, from what we've seen early on in the season, this is a Beacons team that's going to have to play a very strong defensive game. They do not have the offensive firepower to get into a shootout here, and they certainly don't, with 4 goals against, have enough to get that 5 or 6 needed to win a hockey game like this. They're going to have to keep it close. We saw it against, like you mentioned, the way they played Norwich the first time was a close hockey game. Came down to a late penalty. That was the difference. They're going to need that again tomorrow if they're going to have a chance at beating this Hobart team. Tough way to start the weekend. If you're Elmira, it's the flip side. They have set themselves up to have a heck of a weekend here, coming in off the road to the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink, beating UMass 4-1. Now you're not too far from Providence, probably about a 45 to an hour ride. They get a good night's sleep here. You really set yourselves up in a Johnson & Wales team that they should beat, quite frankly. So for me, Elmira really looking like they could end up probably within the top 4 of this conference when it's all said and done this weekend. And a UMass team, if things don't go their way tomorrow, could find themselves in the bottom third.
3 stars of the game. Kyle Curtin, 41 shots, or 43 shots against, saved 42 of them. Kerfala Toure, just his second collegiate game, goal and an assist for Elmira. And our 3rd star will be Kevin Googans with his first goal as a Beacon this season. We take a look at what's coming up for your Beacons. We've already talked about Hobart. That leads into the NESCAC road trip out of conference against Colby and Bowdoin. Then here against Anna Maria as the final game before the winter break. And then it's Codfish Bowl time on the 29th and 30th. That brings us to an end to another BBN broadcast. We could not do this without our outstanding production crew. Michael Vesky, our producer, Maria Spilios on the director's chair, Lauren Bethea, Mariano Jimenez, and Jackson Snyder on camera, Tam Landry on graphics, Elena Albano handling our replay duties tonight. And for my outstanding color commentator, Matt Meisenbacher, my name is Mason